Good morning. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. Today we invite you to come in. Let's take a breath together. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. I am Reverend Jessica Clay. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the lead minister of this congregation. Here we invite you to enter into this place where we hold each other with all that life brings, where we heal and are healed, forgive and are forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, and the compassionate is expected. We welcome you on this morning in the midst of this world which is holding so much heartache, and we gather to remember our own resilience through our own history and reflecting on what still, even in the midst of it all, brings us hope. We come to remember that resilience, joy, and hope is found in community. And so, to find it in community, you always have to have a couple of announcements. If you are someone for whom the order of service is an anchor and a real guide, I invite you to lean in with curiosity this morning because there have been several last-minute changes to it. Many people are ill this morning and are not able to be here, including our brass musicians. So we hold them in care. We thank them for not blowing germs all through the sanctuary, and we give so much gratitude to Kathleen for pinch hitting for us. And if you are a musician or an instrumentalist, if you've ever wanted an opportunity to share your musical talent with others, we are hosting a special afternoon of classical music and classical adjacent music on Saturday, March 21st. And so this announcement is from Kathleen. We know that this congregation is rich with talent and invite all to participate. So if you're interested in this or know of someone that might enjoy being part of this, please see Kathleen, our collaborative pianist, after the service. Should love to talk with you further. So Saturday the 21st at 3. Yes, great. And as we continue to live into this time of occupation, we are assessing community needs and have determined that for now, we will still keep the building locked during Wednesday evenings and Sunday mornings. And so if we keep the building locked, what goes with that? Door monitors, yes. We really need door monitors for these times. So our Director of Operations, Karen Anderson, will be at a table in the atrium or the social hall with a sign-up sheet. We especially need Wednesday night people, please. If you're visiting us this morning, welcome. We have programming for children during each service, or they are welcome to stay with you. If you would like to learn more about us this morning, please meet a member of our Belonging and Community team by the fabric wall. Is somebody doing that? Or we're not doing the tour. If you'd like to learn more about this community, find someone with a name tag, maybe that has green on it, like Greeter, like Dick, or Ilsa, or Mickey, and ask them questions, and they will gladly tell you questions. See, we're just being adaptable this morning. Welcome to church this morning. Come into this place. Welcome to our community. Together we make it a holy place.
Good morning. I really am Ilse Perlich. That's not a change. I'm an astonishingly long-time member of WBUUC. I have raised a National Parks Ranger and a special ed math teacher here. I sing in the choir, volunteer in the office, and I'm on the archives and the 70th anniversary committees. In early spring of 1989, WBUUC's Board of Directors asked for and received the resignation of our minister. The instability caused by the minister's misconduct had caused emotional harm and divided the congregation. Some felt that the members should have had more input on the decision to dissolve our covenant with him. Our little sanctuary in Mahtomedi was starting to feel a bit unsteady. We had grown way past our building's walls. Ari was elbow to elbow. The parking spaces were limited at best. The furnace was kaput, and we had been working out renovation plans. Contractors were being sought. Meanwhile, the nearby Methodist Church, Lake Drive Methodist Church, had been declining substantially in membership, and we learned their building was for sale. Many factors, mostly our uncertain financial future, made purchasing their building unrealistic for WBUUC. Over the summer of that year, we're back in 1989 again, remember? The Methodists remained in contact with our board members, making adjustments that became harder to ignore. Calculators started worrying, conference calls were made and remade. Email might have come in handy here. Many meetings ensued, fundraising ideas were discussed. Pretty soon, it became clear that this was a move we needed to make. They actually had a parking lot. By the opening Sunday in September of '89, the WBUUC board members had hired a sorely needed church coordinator, were selling building purchase bonds, were contacting each of our 103 pledge units and friends of the congregation, asking them to increase their donations. They were listing our building for sale, scheduling a congregational meeting, and actively searching for a new minister. Several of those board members still rub shoulders with us in this building today. Dick Ottman, Victor and Janet Urbanowitz, Jane Bacon, Solveig Sem, to name a few. A moving committee was formed in early 1990, led by Victor and Janet. The congregation voted a resounding yes, and a closing date was scheduled for March 1st of 1990. Our congregational parade, suggested by Jogan Fortier, was complete with balloons, flags, and a brass band. They weren't sick that day. We marched and sang from Mahtomedi Avenue Church to 328 Maple. It was a snowy and joyous celebration. We quickly made ourselves at home in our new digs, and the Ministerial Search Committee introduced their chosen candidate, the Reverend Gail Seavey, in April of 1990. We have enjoyed steady and consistent growth, 3 inspiring and beloved ministers, and have completed 2 major building additions since. The flexibility and resilience in the face of this major transition was truly amazing. This leap of faith was embraced by WBUUC members at every level. Our resilience as a congregation has been demonstrated many times since then. With this moving example as our guide, we have grown to be what we are today. I light the chalice today in honor of the faith we have always had in ourselves and each other. Please join me in the opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We'll be singing hymn number 6. Please rise in body or spirit.
You all know I love a good prop. Would anyone like to come down in front for our story? All are welcome. Hi, little buddy. Hi. So, what do you think this is? Tackle box, toolkit. It could be a makeup box. Anybody remember caboodles from back in the day? It could organize crafts, but it is correct. Does someone want to come open it? Fiona, you want to? It's a toolbox. Hooray! How many of you have toolboxes in your homes? Or a tool drawer, some various forms of organization, right? And yeah, there's tools. Not exactly toys. I know. I should have brought my daughter's fake toolbox. That would have been perfect for you, huh, buddy? I know, yeah, not that exciting. So we use toolboxes to, oh, and he's done. He's like, there aren't any fun things in there, or Dad's more fun. So toolboxes carry the tools that we need to do things around the house, to repair, and also I was going to bring this morning, but as you'll hear in my sermon, we're all trying to make it, so I'm forgetting a lot of things these days. A doctor's kit, too, that my daughter plays with, which is also like a doctor's toolkit, because how many people have been sick lately? right? A lot. And so we go to the doctor, we use our doctors, the doctors use their doctor kits. And so here at church, we are putting things in our spiritual toolbox. When we're going through a hard time, when we have a broken heart, or we're really scared or angry, overwhelmed or grieving, we are adding things to our toolbox, and then we take that with us. So what are some things that are in your toolboxes? And you can answer, or you can answer. For when you're going through a hard time, not actual tools. I mean, not, you know what I mean. Meditation. What else? Your family. Breathing. Music, stuffed animals. Yes, see, that would have been great for Kit. And here's some stuffed animals. What else? What was that? Coming here. What'd you say, Jerry? Connection? Gratitude. Friends. Faith. Yoga. Yeah. Yeah. Pause. Pets. Totally. Totally. Pets. Nature. Mm-hmm. Helping others. Yes. Maybe a red hat's in your toolbox. So all of these are tools. Maybe taking a walk, just getting out of your house, right? There is no weather that's too cold, right? Just bad clothing choices. Exactly. And so coming here helps remind us that we can always add more tools. It's not fixed, is it? What's in our toolbox? We can always add more tools, and maybe when we run out of ideas, we can ask a friend and reach out for some support. So we might not have all we need to make it through this world alone, but together, it's amazing what we can do and the resources we can gather, right? Yes. So with that, we will sing any children that want to go to children's programming out, or sing people back to their pews. Thank you. To continue with the toolbox metaphor, coming here and sharing our joys and our sorrows in community helps strengthen us, strengthen the tools that we have to make it through this world. So each week we have a practice of writing down our joys and concerns and putting them in our meditation bowl, and occasionally we do spoken joys and concerns. So today, as I continue to try to keep my finger on the pulse of this congregation and of the world in general, I thought it would be good for us to do a spoken joys and concerns. So I have a microphone. Ilsa can also journey around with a microphone as well for you to share what's on your heart. I also have some written ones, and I have, if whoever wrote them wants to stand up and speak them, they can as well. And people watching online, you can write them in the chat box and I will read them. So this is an opportunity to just share what's on your heart in community and let the community help hold you. So let's take a breath together and prepare to help hold the cares and concerns and joys of this community.
My extended family is in kind of a crisis point in terms of decisions about my father, who is 96 years old and is living with my sister and has been for 3 years. It's extremely difficult on her, and she's in her 70s, and we want something else to happen, but she is resistant to that. And it's gotten to the point where they might be reported to adult protection because they don't feel like he's getting adequate care. So it's just a point where all of the siblings, and I'm not there, I'm here, so I'm just on the text a lot and talking a lot and trying to figure out when I should go down and when they need help to maybe do a placement or at least have health aides come into the house. So that's concerns.
Holding your family in care, Deborah.
I will share a joy with all of you and pass it along. I was in Savannah for the last 2 weeks and went last Sunday to Savannah Unitarian Church. If you ever want to become really popular these days, go to a UU church and say you're from the Minneapolis area. It took me an hour to get out after the service. And that was the joy, because these folks 1,000 miles away could not stop telling me how honored they were, how in awe they were, and how much they loved our community. And I am very, very grateful to be able to pass that along to all of you who have been so active in this area.
A selfish joy. My wife Sharon and I paid off our mortgage this week.
It's okay to share personal joys. That's a big task.
Watching the U.S. women win the gold medal in hockey was a big joy.
Just to connect the dots, before I was a member of this church, a Unitarian church, I was a member of the Unitarian church in Savannah, Georgia for 5 years. So it's a small world.
So about 2 weeks ago, we were down in Bradenton, Florida, and the minister there was up here in Minneapolis. And so we had a layperson. So we also were popular.
About 2 weeks ago, Jim's sister and brother-in-law, sister and her husband and their daughter and her family lost their multi-generational home to fire. And so they are just this week moving into temporary housing and really just getting their feet under them again. So I would appreciate if you would keep them in your prayers.
A joy for us is our two children. First, my son, newlywed, his wife has been accepted for her interview for a green card in March, so we're very relieved and pleased by that. And then our daughter, who was also raised here, she was accepted into law school, and she's very excited about that.
the power that I feel from all of the love and caring from the people that I found in this place. I am so internally grateful to you all. Thank God for you.
All right, mine's going to feel lame compared to that. I don't know if this is joy. I guess it felt joyful or at least hopeful. I've had a conversation lately with a conservative friend of mine about polarization, political polarization in the country. And it just felt great to see how important it was to him to try and work across sides to do something positive about that. And it made me feel equally committed and to start learning about polarization and what can be done. It just felt really hopeful.
We have a couple online. Prayers for Roe and Janelle's nephew Alex, who requires additional surgery tomorrow due to complications related to colon cancer, holding Alex in care. And Chris Naji says that they are having a severe flare of a chronic illness, and their joy is finding this community and being able to join you online. Any other final? If you've been waiting to raise your hand, because that's not really you, but trusting this community to help hold what you're carrying.
This week in Rhode Island, there was a mass shooting, and the perpetrator appears to have been transgender. So all week I've been waiting for Fox News and the others to run with it. The local Fox News channel in Rhode Island has played down the transgender issue. This person was unbalanced in many ways. But all week I've been very afraid because this is the kind of thing that Stephen Miller and those others are looking for. So if you know someone else who's trans or a trans family, carry that. Let them know you care.
Thank you, Deborah. For all of the unspoken joys and concerns, we hold them in care. This morning, we also lift into prayer newborn baby Howard, who's having surgery on his skull in a few weeks. Prayers of health and healing and comfort to Howard's parents. For the person whose initial is K, who is tending to her mental health through a program. For Trig Eggy, who is receiving radiation treatment for prostate cancer. Prayers for support are welcome. And so let's just take a moment and breathe together. If you are holding a prayer that now you are regretting not naming, may you find someone trusted to name it with today. Our prayer this morning is from Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage. And after it, I will sit down for a minute or two of silence as we breathe in this space together, and then we will remain seated as we sing In These Hard Times by Linda Hirshorn, and we'll sing it through 3 times. So I invite you to cast your eyes down or close them or set them upon something. Maybe it's our chain of resistance here. Spirit of life, spirit of love, eternal mystery beyond and within, receive the meditations of our hearts and prayers this day. We acknowledge that there's so much that we carry each day, the ways others have let us down, made us feel overlooked, unappreciated, not fully welcomed as who and how we are. We name for ourselves that to be human and finite beings in an infinite universe is to exist in a world that can be cruel, all too cruel, and that sometimes we sip from bitter cups of cruelty and pass it on to others. Sometimes we fall short of remembering that we live in a sacred interdependence, and that our strength, our wisdom, our kindness, compassion, and grace are all blessings in the service of the greatest good. With humility, may we reflect on our shortcomings, and with gentle hearts seek that deeper path of living through forgiveness and generosity of heart. Spirit of life, transcendent, holy essence around and within us all, help us this day to fully embrace that we are a people of faith and that we believe that another world is possible and is already here within us, if only we choose to return to that hopeful possibility again and again. To be resilient is to proclaim that our love and legacies of love shall endure and make changes in our lives, our families, community, and our world. May we embody resilience each time we persevere. May we embody resilience as easily as we breathe. May our resilience create ripples of possibility for those who seek us as beacons for sanctuary and liberation. Amen, and may it be so. in these hard times, there will always be singing. We come together to remember that, right? Even if we sing it really quietly. And the minister sings it really loudly. No judgment. It's hard when the choir isn't here to anchor, isn't it? Yeah. But every voice matters. Each week we collect for our offering plate. Sometimes it goes out the door to an organization that reflects our values, and sometimes it stays in this church, which reflects our values. And so today, as we collect for this congregation, for the work of this congregation, we ask you to give as generously as you are able. If this church has made an impact in your life, please give as generously as you are able. The offertory will now be gratefully collected. What was the name of that piece? It had a really good name. Cast Your Fate to the Wind by Vince Guaraldi. Peanuts Christmas Special. That's what I think of. We have two readings for you this morning. The first one is Resilience by Jane Hirschfield. More and more I have come to admire resilience. Not the simple resistance of a pillow whose foam returns over and over to the same shape, but the sinuous tenacity of a tree, finding the light newly blocked on one side, it turns in another. A blind intelligence, true, but out of such persistence arose turtles, rivers, mitochondria, figs, all this resinous, unretractable earth. Our second reading this morning is by Reverend Audette Fulbright, Prayer for Hopelessness. The days that come and carry away your spirit, your spark, bow down. Lay your head on the hard earth and let your brokenness join the death that is stirring there. Life rebels against death, takes the very dust of our bones and reweaves it into glory. You were made for life, and life does not intend to let you go, but rest you can. Decay and falling away from ourselves are part of that process. If you need to fall apart, then do, for life will hold you in that too. We'll teach you how to desiccate and blow away, and then we'll call you back from the four corners of the earth, and will renew you with the water of the tears of others who, like you, weep for all that is lost. She will breathe back into you the breath that washes from the mouths of children laughing, from the lions roared, from the exhalation of trees. You will be reborn into the arms of beloveds, and together we will sing a new song. You know the name of that song, I don't need to ask. Beloveds, it is good to see your faces, to feel your presence on this cold, cold morning. I begin today with gratitude. Thank you for choosing us today, whether it's your first time or your 1000th. I want you to know the difference it makes to my heart to see you here. For this place would not be a church without you. It would be a shell of a building with memories in the walls, but our church, the heart of our church, is with you. It is all of us coming together to remind each other of the strength and resilience that we carry as we name our hard histories and the ways our hearts are being broken and still moving forward. Reverend Jesse Jackson once said, "At the end of the day, we must go forward with hope and not backward by fear and division." We come to church to remember that. As we mourn the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson this, our last Sunday in Black History Month, we lift up the lessons that he taught, his legacy. And we name that Black History should happen every month, not just in February, that it should be embedded in the way that we do church, in the ways that we continue to dismantle how supremacy culture shows up, and to trust that that will ripple out into the world. And Reverend Jesse Jackson had many long-lasting friendships with Unitarian Universalist circles. He frequently preached at UU churches. He gathered among UUs shoulder to shoulder to commemorate the March on Selma in his work with organizations like PUSH and the Rainbow Coalition. He knew that all humans have worth and are beloved, and that together we can choose hope. He embodied resilience and moving towards the dream of beloved community with the way that he lived his life. Local Indigenous activist Jim Bear Jacobs recently said to a room full of clergy that if trauma is passed down in our cells, which science has shown, resilience does as well. As I think about all of these civil rights pioneers who are passing away, who've seen so much in their years here, I take strength from their models of resilience and perseverance, because the truth is what's happening is not normal. There is no way for it to feel normal, but yet it's becoming part of our daily life. And our bodies still remember that recent trauma and life shift that the beginning months of the pandemic had. At the beginning of the pandemic, we held this knowledge that trauma was happening, that so many people were dying and still moving through life. And today, as we are here today, so many people are being disappeared, and this is trauma which is changing our cells. And we come to church to choose hope, as Reverend Jesse Jackson said, not fear or division. Coming to church is an act of resilience, which, if you haven't caught on, is our monthly theme. Coming to church is an act of resilience and resistance. So you could just make a link on this chain and say, I came to church today. Because chances are when you woke up and looked at the temperature outside, you thought, do I really need to? And this counts for you online as well. And it is, again, these acts of resistance, it's against the fear and division which is embedded in our lives right now. But by Monday each week, it's a struggle not to go towards that fear and division. Maybe you all feel that way too. I find myself moving through the world, looking at people and trying to, by pure aesthetics and judgmental brain, identify where they align politically to determine if they are safe or not. And I recognize that I'm saying this as a white cisgender person, that for people with more marginalized identities than me, this has been part of their lives, their daily lives, for as long as they can remember. So I find myself looking at people at the gym, trying to read their t-shirts, and I wonder if we're on the same side. And if we aren't, a shield goes over my heart, my cortisol increases, and I don't go towards compassion. Now, I'm not rude, but I'm not overly friendly. Maybe this is happening to some of you as well. But here is the good news. We come to church to remember a different truth, right? That change is possible. We come to church to remember to choose humanity. As Unitarian Universalists, we know that within our congregations there are many different theologies, and there are many people who don't come here looking for God. They are looking for humanity. They are humanists who want to be reminded of the good in people. Humanism calls us to remember that we are responsible for each other. And whether you are a theist or not, we can all agree that we are responsible for each other and connected to each other. And so therefore, today, this coming to church, it reminds you of what's good in humanity, because there is still good. Because as Ilsa said in her beautiful, poignant chalice lighting, We are a people that are resilient, that choose hope even in the midst of trauma, change, and uncertainty. This is why church matters, to thaw our hearts in the midst of ICE occupation. Because maybe you have been feeling this term I recently learned from Emil Ennis Jr. It's called functional freeze. Has anyone heard of this term? Maybe the therapists in the room have. So functional freeze is when you're still functioning and yet feeling tired and disconnected, like you're on autopilot because your system has been in survival mode for too long. That's why sometimes he says sleep doesn't fix it and motivation feels unreachable. And he continued that the way out isn't by pushing harder. It's about finding tiny pockets of safety, routine, gentle movement, and real rest that you can find while you keep going. He says, maybe you're not unmotivated. Maybe you've just been carrying a lot for a long time. And you've just been really strong and your body's just asking for a little extra care. And maybe you just need a hug and a safe place. Because life is a lot right now. Yes, I've been saying this for over a year. But so far, 2026 has my system in overdrive. The hypervigilance of driving around town, looking at license plates, trying to see who's driving, wondering who is safe and who isn't, trying to find ways to support those who aren't. This is what we are moving through, and it's changing our very cells. It's becoming part of our DNA. I was in a circle of colleagues this week, and each of us, we meet monthly, each of us went around the circle and talked about our decline in executive function. Struggling to remember things, I have double booked several meetings recently, struggling to get things done. So here you go. This is just a blanket permission from me. Permission to take a beat. Find a safe person for a hug. Set it down for a minute and rest in care. It is okay to lose yourself in the latest season of your favorite reality show. Feel free to find me afterwards and ask me about mine. If I name them here, it'll take us down a train that we're not going to go on right now. Or in the Olympics. We're all doing the best we can right now. So recently I've been distracting myself and looking through hope through the Olympics. I love the Olympics. As I sit on the couch with my recently purchased boxes of Girl Scout cookies, and I go, don't fall on the ice. And cheering on so many inspiring people. It brings me hope for humanity, and demonstrations of resilience continue to come through. And yes, those who medal are inspiring, and the networks would have you think that that is the be it end goal. But so are the others, the people who are in the middle, or the people who are in the last 10. Those people, the hard work that they did to get there, it matters. So there's this Brazilian skier, and we're going to go a little bit over the hour today. I hope you give me, I pray for a little bit of grace with our time this morning. So there's this Brazilian skier named Bruno Moura. Who knows her story? It's so inspiring. So Bruno Moura did not grow up cross-country skiing, because there's not a lot of that, or any, in Brazil. She was a mountain biker, and she had an injury, and that meant that she couldn't bike anymore. And she had a friend tell her, you should look up cross-country skiing. I think you'd really like it. And she tried it, and she loved it, and she trained in Brazil with like rollerblade sort of cross-country skis. And in 2022, she qualified for the Beijing Olympics. She was ecstatic. She traveled to Austria where she could train before the games, but once she arrived in Austria, she got COVID and had to be quarantined for 10 days, basically missing out on all the training. So she's in a taxi on her way to the airport to fly to Beijing for the Olympics, and because she had just had COVID, she sat in the far back seat of the van, to help protect the driver with her mask on, just in case she was still contagious. And the driver got in a head-on collision and was killed instantly. She broke her foot in several places, ribs, her arm in several places. She had to spend a year in intense recovery. She had to learn how to do many things again. And as soon as she could, she got back to training. And she qualified for the 2026 Olympics. And on every scene, you see her at the opening ceremonies and things, she has the biggest smile on her face. So she finishes her 10-kilometer cross-country ski event. She finishes it in 99th place. And instead of going to get some water, check in with her coach, maybe being disappointed in her time, she stays at the finish line. There are 9 people after her. She stays to give each of them a hug and sit with them as they cross the finish line, the last one being an athlete from Mexico. There are still stories of hope if we look for them. There are still reasons to remember and believe in humanity and not to let fear and division separate us. And if you are carrying many marginalized identities and a history of trauma in your body, I hope you are finding safe spaces, people to ask for a hug, to share what you are carrying. And I hope that those of us with more privilege are working to make this church, our church, one of them. If you carry a lot of privilege, the more privilege you carry, the more able you are to have hard conversations with people, to keep the door open, to sing to them, it's okay to change your mind, and be able to receive them when they do. Because we know that humanity is not fixed. We are helping each other over the finish line each day, right? Our ideas are not fixed, even though oftentimes we get deeply entrenched and hooked in them. They become part of our identity as Unitarian Universalists, but we believe in the power of transformation as a tool of change. We believe in the transformation that comes from being part of this community, and we, all of us in the pews, take a minute and look around. You're invited to, not told to. You take that power of transformation out into the world, that transformation that you find here, you take it out and you bring more love into the world, because that is what's going to save us. That love looks like delivering groceries. It looks like handing me a check for the minister's discretionary fund. Today, to date, we have received about $9,000 in checks for the minister's discretionary fund, and we have paid out about $9,000 in support in rent, in groceries from the minister's discretionary fund. That is what hope and resilience looks like. Some of you gather on street corners. Bless you for doing that. Not everyone has the bandwidth for that. But one of the key ways that we can address what's happening right now is through wealth redistribution. It's through saying, I have more than enough. Here, take this. Use it to reflect our values in the world. Use it for someone who needs it. It's by pledging to support the mission of this congregation to say, I believe in this place that is making brave space for people to come out of the closet, for people to bring their trans kids and trust us to hold them and affirm the fullness of their humanity. That is why we are here. And we need you, your voice in the room, your presence, because you, and I'm saying this to every single person here, all 50, 60, however many are included in your households online, you are what brings a bit of hope. It sounds cheesy because it's also true. There are so many places you all could be right now, right? Including at home in your pajamas, right? But the fact that you choose this place right here and right now, that you chose a bit of your day to spend it, Don't discount the impact of that on your life and in the lives of others. We believe in the power of community to bring great change, and that starts here. And what crafts our vision of who we want to be is you all. And that's what we're doing this year. It's this process of crafting ends statements, aspirational statements of who we want to be in the next 5 years. So I hope if you haven't already, you're able to sign up for a Nested Bowls session. For more information, it's in your wrap, but also Karn will have the sign up at a table out in the atrium. I hope you're able to continue to go towards community in the ways that you are able, because this trauma that we're going through, it's too much for any one person to hold alone. Here we find the things for our toolbox, our way of making it, and we know that no one person has all the answers, but we find them together. We are helping each other over the finish line, even if we're 99th, the finish line of each day. So our steering committee from our Raising Racial Consciousness workshops that were held last year, they're holding processing circles after each service today in the alcove, which is out to the left, to help name what's going on and talk about how resistance, acts of resistance are showing up in your life. And if you're thinking, I haven't done anything, you can still go. Just going is an act of resistance. Come and share how you're doing with this trusted group. And these stories we're carrying, they are the seeds of hope. Recently, I heard the story of a beloved who'd been their acts of resistance had been waiting at a bus stop to ensure that kids got into their homes safely, because ICE often waits at bus stops to go take the parents as they come out to get their children. So this person had been at this bus stop pretty regularly for this one family, and one day the bus driver called them over and said, hey, you're helping to support this family, aren't you? And the person said, yes, I am. And the bus driver handed them $300 in cash and said, use this to help them. Two strangers choosing to help a family, choosing humanity. There are stories like this happening all around. They're not making the front page of the New York Times or Heather Cox Richardson's daily posts, but they are going in my toolbox to remind me that there is still good, that people are still choosing each other, that hope is still possible. Does anyone here speak Norwegian? Okay. If you do and you don't want to raise your hand, you can correct me on my pronunciation. There's this term, menneskeverd, which means the value of the human being merely for being human. The value of the human being merely for being human. This concept is who we are as Unitarian Universalists, with our shared value that all people have inherent worth. So in World War II in Norway, the Norwegians began to wear red Santa hats to show their quiet resistance to Nazi occupation. On February 26, 1942, the Nazis outlawed the red hats. Recently, maybe you've seen some red hats popping up around Minnesota. There are some knitters in here that I know are making them, and one came to my office and gave me this little pin right before the service, not knowing this was in my sermon. A little synchronicity there. Mary Stefanski is making them. These are physical signs that we resist, signs that we believe in menneskeverd, the value of the human being merely for being human, a different kind of red hat for hope. This week we moved through Ash Wednesday, remembering that we are but the dust of the universe and we will return to it. And as Christians move into Lent with that time period of introspection and reflection, 40 days in the wilderness, time with prayer and contemplation. And for Muslims, we've begun Ramadan, which is also a time of prayer and fasting and contemplation. These are sacred times for many people. Not to mention, we just went through Lunar New Year, sacred turnings of the wheel of time. Therefore, beloveds, what is in your toolbox? Does it need a little bit of restocking? If we are to go forward with hope and not backward by fear and division, as Reverend Jesse Jackson says, if we are acting in a functional freeze, we need to find our pockets of safety, our things to remind us that care for us, that allow us that little bit of space to breathe so that we can keep going towards each other. This is what will save us. Remember that change is still possible, that we are changed by being together, that we are held together by love. We lift our voices in song to remember that change is still possible within us and within those who do not share our values. We have to believe it, moving over our thresholds with each other, one day, one moment at a time. Amen. Our closing song today, which I invite you to rise in body or spirit for, is from the Singing Resistance group. It's Okay to Change Your Mind by Annie Schlafer. The words are going to be on the screen. So you can see the words. Thank you, Aaron. I will sing it through. I'll sing the first part once, and you can repeat after me, and then I'll sing the second, because the tune changes a little bit. Oh, it's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. It's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. And then the second verse goes, oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. Oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. We're gonna make it. Y'all know I'm not your choir director, but we're gonna make it, right? And I invite you to sing it with passion. Who cares if you're off key? Right? We can hold each other. Sing it with meaning, and we'll sing it a few times through. Oh, it's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. Oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us anytime. It's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. Oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. We're going to get that last verse. I believe in us. Oh, it's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. Oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. So some of you might have been part of the singing resistance who stood and still stand outside of hotels that are housing ICE, and they sing this to these agents to say it's okay to change your mind. May we remember that it's also okay to change our own minds, to open our hearts to curiosity that the people we love may change their minds, to leave the door open for possibility, to find safe places to lay it down for a minute, to rest in each other. May you go towards humanity, even if you are in 99th place of life this week. May you move with kindness in the world, because that is what we need right now. Amen. Gloria is here for our 12-minute intro and tour. Thank you, Gloria. So if you're visiting, meet Gloria by the fabric wall. And will you turn to your neighbor and thank them for coming to church today?